So I went back and listened to this song, and in my head I just created this hypothetical situation. Like, what would happen if Pusha T really had $1 million in the ceiling? And immediately I thought of a concept that I learned in business school. And it's about this force that sits over top of our finances, almost like gravity. It's always working, but it's invisible. This force is called inflation. And inflation is essentially the rate at which prices of goods and services rise, which in turn allows you to buy less with the same amount of money. In a broader spectrum, this is caused by a country printing more money than is justified by its GDP. But we won't get into that aspect of inflation on this episode. The historical average for inflation is 3.22, and you can find that at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, located at bls.gov. Now 3.22 might not sound like much, but if you do the math, it will actually make the price of something double in only 20 years. So specifically, we call out the lyrics from The Wrath of Cain, which is a mixtape released by Pusha T in 2013, and the situation is basically Pusha T puts $1 million in a ceiling in 2013, and we want to figure out how much that money will actually be worth today. So in 2013, he can buy $1 million worth of goods. But if he wanted to go and buy that same amount of goods in 2015, he will have to spend $24,386 more than he would have had to the previous 2 years. Now, we ask ourselves what's really doing that. And this right here is a CPI inflation calculator, and CPI stands for Consumer Price Index. Basically, they look at a basket of goods, things that you buy on a regular basis, and they measure the average rate that these prices increase year over year, and specifically month over month. You can see the data for it at bls.gov, but this tool allows you to do it for year over year.
Nobody prepared us for this. Nobody. It's so important. They teach us everything else in these curricular activities.
And as you can see, it begins to add up. So he let his money sit in the ceiling, that $1 million, and now he can buy a lot less stuff with that $1 million. He'll need an additional $24,386. The most obvious way that we kind of see this on a day-to-day basis is think about the dollar menu. It used to be a dollar menu, but now it's like the $1.50 menu. Where you used to be able to buy 2 hash browns for $1, you can only get 1 now. So McDonald's is showing us that inflation is a real thing, and it's acting on the things that we buy on a regular basis. Now, what does that $24,386 really mean to someone? Well, if you remember from the previous episode, the median income of a black male over the age of 25 is only $27,832. So it's nearly about the amount of money that Pusha T lost in purchasing power over those 2 years he let that $1 million sit in the ceiling.
It don't confuse me because I understand them. I know them. Even if I don't know them personally, I know somebody that I grew up with that is them. So I understand the mentality.
And if you can think back all the way to 2 episodes ago, we talked about a concept of time value of money. And we used J. Cole to help us explain this one. The basic premise is that $1 is worth more today than it ever will be worth. And one of the reasons for this is inflation. So if you think about it, if I spent that $1 today, I would be able to spend only $1 on that thing that I'm going to go purchase. Whereas if I went maybe a year from now, I would have to spend $1 and say 20 cents for it, depending on how much the price of it rises.
You know, I don't come from that world where I just can't wait to get money and stunt and show you that I got money and make a video on Instagram holding and talking to the money. That's not. That's
like put the stack on your ear.
Nah, I see that that's like the cool thing right now, but that's not cool. That's never been cool to me. Like if it's cool to you, do it. But you know, I just noticed that some of these people that got everything that we think we want, deep down they're not happy.
So the next question is, how do I combat inflation? Well, you know the value of your money is going down by 3.22% year over year. So you just need to find an investment that gives you more than 3.22% return. You can find that in many of things. So if you want to do stocks, many bonds can get you that, although it'll probably be around 3 to 4%. Mutual funds, ETFs, all those different investment vehicles can help you fight against inflation.
With cash that I never had. I'm trying to stretch a million, hoping it forever lasts.